Hello, thank you for watching this video from us here at Cookdown, where today we're going to talk about Connection Center and how it can help you integrate SCOM with really about anywhere. With deep integrations for ITSM tools like ServiceNow and Cherwell, but ultimately the power to integrate with anywhere in every direction, so to raise SCOM alerts as well as to push SCOM alerts into other tools. Let's dig a little deeper. Connection Center is actually a suite of products, and each of the integrations is sold individually. We have deep integrations for ServiceNow and Cherwell, both of which are ITSM tools, so you can raise incidents from your SCOM alerts in those tools. We also have messaging tools where we have deep native integrations such as Slack and Teams, but ultimately we can push SCOM alerts anywhere via the power of webhook, which is very powerful. We also can raise SCOM alerts from any platform that can push via webhook. So here are some example logos of the sorts of systems that can push via webhook. So let's look a bit closer at how this might work. So it all starts with those SCOM alerts that SCOM will raise, which can be pushed via Connection Center to your ITSM tool of choice, ServiceNow or Cherwell, as incidents to automate the incident creation process. But your team doesn't actually look at ServiceNow or Cherwell as much as they should. They like to consume their SCOM alerts via Slack or Teams. No problem, Connection Center can do that as well. But ultimately, the aim of the game is to get those incidents resolved. And so, incident information will change over time. This can be synced through SCOM into Slack and Teams as well. But the aim of the game is to resolve those incidents. And ultimately, when that happens, you don't want to touch SCOM again. You want the SCOM alert to be closed off for you automatically, which we do, regardless of whether that SCOM alert is from a rule or from a monitor. And we update Slack and Teams with information about the SCOM alert's closure. So let's see this in operation. So here we are in the SCOM console, and we're looking at essentially the outbound notifications, which will be how we push SCOM alerts to some places: ServiceNow, Cherwell, Slack and Teams. You can see here I've got Cherwell disabled, but the other three are enabled. We also have in our management pack the ability to pull things from places, updates. So in this case, we have we set this up to pull notifications from ServiceNow or from Cherwell. Cherwell is disabled right now, so this is information on incidents coming in. We also, with ServiceNow, have the ability to accept maintenance mode requests. So you can hook up scheduling maintenance mode to your ITSM process, which is really quite powerful. It lets you automate away something you'd otherwise have to do manually, and for it you have to accept inbound maintenance mode requests, which is what we have set up here. So as you can see, we already have this set up. I'm going to show you some of the options available on these connections. So starting with ServiceNow, you put in information around your ServiceNow instance, set up a run as profile and account. You specify whether you'd like to be pushing your SCOM alerts to our ServiceNow certified store app or to the ServiceNow event management module. And then you have a criteria picker from the subscriptions and notifications area of SCOM. It's the same one, so you'll be familiar with it. That gives you good granularity around pushing out SCOM alerts, which we want to choose. The configuration is stored in a management pack in SCOM, which means it's easy to migrate between management groups. And on the summary, you can see what we've set up here. So if this were the first time we were completing this, or we've made a change, you would hit finish, those changes would be committed. It's a very similar process for Slack, Teams, Cherwell. A few minor differences for Slack and Teams. Aside from on the first screen here, providing the webhook URL to connect to, that's how we connect into Slack and Teams. You get to pick whether you're receiving a simple message or a detailed message, and how, if you want to have a click-through link to a console, this can be anything from ServiceNow to Squared Up, which is what it is in this case. You put that link detail here. Same criteria picker, same management pack, storage location, same summary screen. You also see here in the states column that the state of the connection is monitored by SCOM, so if it goes down, you're notified about it. Next thing to do, if we go to the monitoring tab, we're going to find some SCOM alerts to push out to places. I'm going to focus on this alert here, which I pushed out earlier. This is log file module error detected. So this should have been pushed to all of the locations in question, ServiceNow, Teams and Slack. So the first thing we're going to do is go and see this in Slack and Teams. So here we go. Here is that SCOM alert in Teams. You can see here we have the detailed version set, so we have a few more fields here. And in Slack we have simply the basic version, which just gives you object name and description, as well as its title. You can see here we have View Alert Details buttons, which if when clicked will take you through to that squared up dashboard. Let's have a look. And this is where it takes me. So this is the squared up dashboard relating to that alert. You can see we pass in the alert ID to the URL here. The other place that this SCOM alert has been passed is ServiceNow. This is our ServiceNow certified store app, and the SCOM alerts area of this is where this SCOM alert lives, and here it is. You can see all the information relating to it, but ultimately you can see it's been raised as an incident. Now, to understand what we're going to see in the incident, we have to look at the generic infrastructure rule that raised the alert first. So we're going to have a look at this rule first. In ServiceNow, you can see that if a SCOM alert that comes in matches these criteria, in other words, it's not closed and it contains an alert ID, which obviously they all do, it's going to get raised as an incident. These properties are going to be set. Ultimately, on the Advanced tab, you can see I have a feature called Correlate Server Down Alerts turned on. I'm not going to go through everything in here. There is a more detailed video to go through that, but Correlate Server Down Alerts is worth understanding. When checked, if the server that raised the SCOM alert is down, incident creation for other alerts from this machine are suppressed. So if we go through into SCOM alerts again, and we find our alert file module error detected alert, if I go through to the incident that was raised from this, the one ending in 156, I see that in this case, open record, this incident is actually a heartbeat failure incident. So in other words, we've correlated the fact that this server is down to this alert rather than raise another incident for it. And another way of seeing this is in the SCOM console. You'll see with bidirectional sync, incident ID is the same for all of these guys, because essentially the root cause of all of these alerts is going to be the thing is offline, and so I don't want incidents for them. However, I will see in Slack and Teams notifications for these independently of each other. The next thing I'm going to show as to how these systems all kind of join up is when an incident is resolved in ServiceNow, the SCOM alerts relating to it are closed off. So I'm going to close off this heartbeat failure one. We'll see that update pulls through into Teams and Slack, and obviously via SCOM. So we're going to go into ServiceNow and close off this incident. We're going to resolve this incident. This will require resolution information. We rebooted the box. And resolve. This will result in the SCOM alert that raised it, which is this heartbeat failure one, being closed out. This one's come from a monitor, so I'm expecting this monitor to be reset. If I open Health Explorer and I'm quick enough, what I should see, state change events, I should see it go from red to green. Here we go, you can see it's now green, which is good. The SCOM alert's been closed out, I can see in the background as well. So what I should see, if I go through to Slack or Teams, is the notification of that. And here we go, you can see that information here. So you can understand the power of connecting these systems as we have done here. Really valuable. So we've talked about pushing alerts from SCOM to places. Let's talk for a minute about raising alerts in SCOM, and for this I'll need to bring in our webhooks capabilities again. So we're looking here at a listener I set up on our SCOM management group. It runs on all the management servers at this address, and I've built this one for Prometheus. If I go through the configuration quickly of this, you'll see you give each webhook listener a name. It stands up a URL that you can push alerts into. You can secure this with SSL if you want, or leave it open and API keys, that's true. You then, when you have set up your listener for the first time, can push a payload to it and use the data from the payload to shape the alerts that you want to raise. Equally, you can provide a payload by just copying and pasting one in and use that as the basis. And this is how shaping it works. It's all done using a combination of plain text and the liquid format, which can be used to manipulate the contents of a received payload if done so in a repeatable way. All the information on how liquid works and what is possible here is on our website. But you can here see, for example, that we have an alert name being pulled from our payload, and the example of what that is in the below example text. The same with our instance here. Going back to my payload just to give you a minute to see where this came from. So instance is here and alert name is here. Once you've decided what your SCOM alert should look like, you also get the ability to customize the custom fields of your SCOM alert. So I'm putting the DC property into the location field like this, again using the liquid format and a blend of text and these liquid keys. All of this configuration is saved in SCOM in a management pack, and that's how the configuration looks. The result, if I go to the monitoring tab now and click on one of my alerts from earlier, is alerts, unsurprisingly, that match the criteria and conditions defined in the listener. So here you can see this is one that I pushed in earlier, and you can see also the custom field has the location set to whatever was in the DC property. If I go to the properties of the alert and go to context, you'll see we also store the raw JSON that was received that this alert has been raised from, so you can see everything that was used, the building blocks, which is really quite powerful. And again, all of this is done without writing any code, so really powerful integration to get alerts up into SCOM as well. And finally, if you like what you've seen here, go to cookdown.com/connection center, where you can take a trial, book a demo, or ask us a question on anything relating to it at all. So thank you for watching this video.